1966 ngutillugu una inuk anniarvingmi ittuaq toquniarun migun qulialiorsimajuaq maqpiraamun ai Nuligak inuuqniarun migun nunam lutarium luqaningani najoqtait taavaniungasiktummi nunagingitamini nuna ilisimayani takumajuatun iliyaa quliaqtuamigun nuna atausiumman
Uvanga Nuligak quliaqtuarutinearipkin inuusipkun quliaqtuarniartunga sudjutitka uigulaitkitka iliappaavlungatajiva annoraarlungneq nanginnerlu ilisimagiga oqiqtunga aglaan sunatakutuaapku uigulaitkiga Daapkuat sivut Kittigaryuit qaimayut tarium sinaani ilutakkun ikkatukkun qilalu keqivangertuali nuitamaani taimani umiarpaitakunaqidinnagit
Nuligaqtakumajuaq inuutsimilitajiva tangillu Inuvialuillu pitqusiit paarutigamik toquniarun migun 1966 mi Edmonton mi sivulliquliaqtuanga Inuvialum sannaiga
The Inuvialuit, in the space of 2 or 3 generations, underwent a degree of change as great or greater than that of any other human group in all of history that survived in the end. They came as close to being destroyed as you could imagine, and it's surprising, really, that they weren't.
Someone of his generation, born in 1895 and living through that whole shift, no matter what he would talk about, it's an important record of a human life.
Pitko sivullo inuuniarutikpullo qangma pimagivut sivullivut malerullugit ingelraan inuuserput ilisimayaksariarput
taimangani nulikkam apqutigivaktaagun qitunrai sulitajiva qiqertariungmun aulevaktuat qiqertarmikiyoq Yukon saangani taapkuat kaagnitkut atiqtaamna alraqsuiyit qaitaat ataatanganun wini angayukliuyoq tamarmikilagiit qiqertariumuktuksat ippaksao ubluqtisivialuktoq aakasmi ubluinarmi ubluinnarmi uva tikinniartut wini nutaraugami ilaani tallimaniku ubluni aulevaktuat silaqluutimmatik sivituviktoq
qiqertariungmukpaktuanni ukiortamaan nuna takuyartorlugu ilisautimmatikut pisoqatigiyuatun sivullivut
inuutsimini winim takumayait allat tikisimajuat arverniartit uqsiqiyilluqangma Inuvialuit inuusingit allanguvialukkait 1850 ukiunginni Amerikaaluit umiarpait Inuvialuit Canadam tariungani Alaska wivaublu aqviqit nugulqajaugait toqutiqpailuit atqunaqlugit taimani Ilisimayauyok, imanda, tareok upaktaksaungitok.
In about 1888, a man named Joe Tuckfield was sent east just to find out what was there.
Tuckfield goes to the Mackenzie Delta. He talks to local people, and he finds one of the few decent harbors on that stretch of coast, Pauline Cove on Herschel, and he found lots of whales.
Tuckfield comes back with a bonanza discovery, a find on the scale of a Klondike gold rush for whalers. His description was beautiful because he said that the waters around Herschel Island, in the waters around Herschel Island, the whales were as thick as bees. We have struck the El Dorado of whaling, and it's at a place called Herschel Island.
There's just pandemonium. This is like the gold rush. The whaling community here is overjoyed to hear this. Within a week, there are 5 whaling ships anchored at Pauline Cove, and they're off and running.
Ingilrakaluk, Kittigaryuit, Tikisimaidillu, Amerikaluit, Kinexeawak dood, Arveranek, Sumilika, Sangobludik, Arviomuksoa, Heling Nakeblunin Minun, 1880, Sapek Sallirmiutun dood, Nungumakirmata, Nunapting Nunasin, Salutik, Nungokterokluit, Kilamiki. Soklum mga vausirmago arvio muksoa sok kangagisian bivagat annoganon atuaksak. Arveret sa pernait kiblutiglo ubwabtaok ilutak o kijwigikluni umianon.
Pauline Cove is a relatively small little cove, but it was very nicely sheltered. One of the difficulties in Arctic whaling is that you had to get in and out the same season. Because if you didn't and you left the ship in the ice, the ship would actually be crushed. And so what Herschel Island had to offer was a place to stay. You could winter over, get another whole year of hunting, and then go out before the ice came that following year.
They normally have to overwinter twice to fill up their cargo holds, and then they go back to San Francisco the next year. The best year was in 1894-95, when there were 15 whaling ships overwintered that winter at Herschel. There were about 1,000 men living on Herschel Island under the nominal control of 15 whaling captains.
They knew that the whaling industry was a boom and bust industry, that when you got into an area, you over-harvested it pretty fast and you moved along. So Herschel Island itself was a bit of a slap-together kind of community.
Igludakon gani siwulirap kun at sigat society row. Ali kibaktuat kanokleha mukpakludiglo uwa takonaktut. Ataw sa akluni mukpaktiluit silami pektotimatik pingasutangit kiunaktuat.
People who didn't have the faintest clue about each other all of a sudden are living on the same very small piece of land.
Kagnitkut kitunra katigilgit sitamanik winimingani nulikam angayuklianik tuwakatilik winim inrutaloa kingulik kiden atinga.
Amamaga 82 ukiolik suli nutkayuitto. Mallaw yakuba umiakun kikaktakayum tunganon. Aulaw kumitajwa nakuyo na yung matigot. Kitin uva 7 ukiolik alianay usukto.
When you give your children that opportunity,
Isumagamalitajuba nutakkat inusakpot kanok itilanganik takumagumitjung Tuktuuyaqtuuq ilibaktuat.
Apaga Tuktuuyaqtuuq ilitsuqimaidillunga Ilia Pablo ngano takawama tayo malingaon ilisimagiga. Ando ka alukpaktuame. Ama mga ay panit kingman ananang munaribagane. Pisulain miyok. Niyo nga ay pa kidlak palik. Tayo man ni nayok paga Inuvialuit.
Nuligak Ilia Pablo ni taimani tajba sumilika tukkumavaktuaq. Ilisarvigivagait nayoktani sutigurlika. Sapeksaimon aullakiyuaq taimanganin.
Orphans had a terrible time in traditional Inuit society. They slept in the entrance tunnel to the house with the dogs. They were fed on cast-off food. They lived on charity. But in the traditional Inuit story, it's always the orphan who makes good. And Nuligak, his story, partakes of some of these sort of mythical elements.
Nulikam ananangap dauta yuwa Ilia Pauyok.
Kikirtayong minapda nikiksayo di yun eh. Ananang maniuk sayo lahit tuksuli. Nigaktor na luklunga siksingnik nikiwapalukpak doon eh. Ataw sa taw nigak. Tayo mani kulinik uki unilikslungalo.
Nikik sayang simman kikirtayong mi ananagig malaw yuwag Inuvialuit ikaksakamata nunaving mun ang uniaraksutik. Ataw chitun ikayoktigiksutik yakirwakpak tuwa tuktunik natsernik ting milungniglo.
Ando ka luklunga kikisiyabaktuami. Ilani kayabaktuami.
Nuna ilani nangin Inuvialuit. Niriyutain nami Inuvialuit. Ilani amiraluat niribagait. Upinraksami mengoranga naglaan siksigil aniwaktuat. Ilani nangin naktok tayuwa.
Ilia Pauyo taimani nayo upkit ilisimat qiyat tajba iluat qiyak. Taimani ame ilsaqaani inunaitto. Tusaamariktuni puqertuni nakuuyoq. Nulikkam tajba isuma suangabluni ayoqsaaqtuaq inugoqami.
Nuligarlu anananilo aula Kittigaryuit anguniaqtut Kittigaryuit tunganon anivini Inuvik vini. Kittigaryuit aimani nayok pagad Inuvialuit. Ayup sangay naksat Canada mi. Tikin namigaglaan inuklinaktuat. Tangit anyaotat sibuling nigait. Suikap saklugit tokoraklutik. Nuligak ang ayokakso nilo Kittigaryuit nun utirami. Sinalo nunalo ilitak nakaluaktok tayo tualuk.
Aw yamit tayo manik Kittigaryuit miut nangilaksudik tokoranak tuat. Tamang mikapsak. Malrugin nuk ilamingnik iluwaksiyo aksudik. Aw yinik tuak tayo mani. Timait nunam kangan nun ililaksin naktat. Nutak kadili sa katakadik tayo ma ilaksudik. Tayo mani ane ako dim.
Annaautim tajva ilavut nungukapsagait ingilgaan 4,250 kisingoqlugit. Pitqusaqput ulapikapsaklugo.
It's beyond living memory now, of course. And it's almost beyond the kind of memory that you pass down in detail. It really marks the end of traditional Inuvialuit life. 95% of your population dies. How do you come out the other side as an intact culture?
Ukiumi atautsimi amaokaluit akut kaibut nigim tunganu na ulayot. Inuviak pailutik tavangakaluk takunaktut. Kuliariyay tajibagorinuit timainik nirelraaksutik aulakayot nigim tunganun.
Takumayait inuukhatini nungulrayaarmata. Tajvaasin makpiraakun ai Nuligak Tuktuuyaqtuuq.
Nukat peqat ilitsorit kugaluarait inuusiptigun. Pitqusiptigun lo inuuseq nunaptingni allangoqsimaakkerman. Maqperaaliukkertuat uvaptingnik puyuqungiluta.
Tareoq taunani ilanga ikkaluni maligoq salguyoq ungallamin. Sikuptauq taunani pingangnamin munarinaqtoq. Umiaqpait taimaningilraan aulagamik nautsiivialukpaktuat. Yukaan sinani käänatam kiglingane qikertariuk Inuviqtuaq. Niuvayit umingmata 1952 kiunginni. Ublaasiamitaap kuat kaagnitkut qikertariuk tikidaat qaumayoqubbasuli. Qikertariuk tajva Inuvialuit anguniarvigivagaa taimangaanin. Tuktulu qilalukkalumaligullugut. Käsi kaagnitikittuaq tingmiyoolukkun ilani upaklugut. Maani tajva Nuligaq iliappaubluninyutaraugami qanorliqaa'inuuniapalukpaktuaq umiaqpait iktakuinnin. Anaanangaptauq ilisautivagaa liqalleqinikkun nigaarniarnikkun manniksiornikkun asiarniarnikkun sivulutta pitqusiitigun. Ilisimayorlitajva inuutsinisim ivituvallaalaittoq. Anniaun tikilluni tangit anniautaat Inuvialuit tikillugit.
What we're gonna do with this one? We're gonna keep them for quack?
Your fellas when we could cook it.
Oh, we're gonna cook some?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Diseases that were childhood diseases in Europe were killers among the Inuit population. Chickenpox among the Inuvialuit population could kill 10% of the population in a month. Add to that influenza, meningitis, whooping cough, measles.
Aklaawingmia aaquaqsaq uqaqatigiyaqa nutaraubluniguuq ublaamitubakkami ukioriuami tamaarmiguuq nayoqtanitoquniqtuat qaninniqsat ilani ungatsiaringmiyuat tamaarmiktauq suiqniqtuat.
I once talked to an elder, an old woman in a Klavik, who as a child had woken up in a house in the middle of winter and everyone else was dead. She was 4 or 5 years old. The nearest neighbors were 15 miles away and everyone was dead.
Anaanaga annialivialuktuaq. topek puktauk kekauvialung miok. Ingat tabimun iglektok.
Inu katibut aulakuli reblutik. Ananang mapiyani. Inung mga makairlutin malikit. Niblit kingito ak sa ibanganin. Ublumita iba kuwiasong ito nga. Kaya bakto nga ananaga suwerman.
Ublumita iba kasi kakni ananang mi apkudait malerot bagait. Uwane kekektaryung mi Inuvialuit iningani.
Ilisariarama Inuit pitqusiinnik ilisarpaktuami kangeqsisuklunga inuuniarutiptigun.
This place is called Ptarmigan Bay.
Uvani ittunga Ptarmigan Baymi initoorliit nalunaittut maani Inuvialuit najoqpaktangit ingilraan.
Ingilraan Inuvialuit nutqangasuittut neriyutit malerullugit sivikit tumigiglutik najoqpagait aimani najoqtait takunarpaktuat qangma.
Agliutivakkatka iluvret aglaklugillu maqperaanun sulliqaa takuyatka.
Silakput nirumiksimaakkerman qangma tareoq ulisimaakkiga nunakput auqimaakkerman sulliqaa ingilraanitat ulapisimaakkertuat.
Auyang ngoman tikitain nakakputam nakikektak Inuvialuit atewaarnigaat qikektaryungmik ini Inuviaktoq aquversioqpangnertuat akidjutalutik umiaqpait Inuviagnertuat ayuvani tangit igloqpalioq nertuat angiyunik sunigliqa Inuitlu allagit Inuvialuktut Inuviagnitualuit Inuit tamaungaarnertuat Alaska minlu tawang kaluktaok Siberia min umiakpang ni sabaktuat.
When you look at Herschel Island as an Inuvialuit would have looked at it, the experience was often one of wonder. The scale of the buildings, the scale of the ships, the noise, the activity levels, the material wealth, the dozens and dozens and dozens of new things that for a young Inuit boy would have been brand new, things they had not seen before.
Sigaaqtuamik takunruqaqamik isumallaktut qaneruva suangateruarnerpa qanra puyuumimayoq asuunaguurinnermik nirimayoq.
Tangit umiaqtoqtit qaneruleqa piuyaqpangnertuat. Tamuruublutiglu aglerui tangit takunnakpakkatka. Qaitsiman nga tamuaqsamnik tammoqsit qaiga. Mamaqtukaluunertuaq kutsoq. Tajwangaanin ilitsurimaakkikatka tangit pitqusiit.
Inuvoqsimaakkirami nuligaq sabaanik talaqtuaq umiaqpangni.
Umiaqtikittuaq niggimtungaanin. Saaliwaakam tiliyaani ikitqublunga. Tangilluuqiniksaniggaani. Inuvialuit inuviaangnertuat savangnertuat ajibani umiami. Niriunginaaqtuami Inuvialuit taniktun qaqtuanik qalioqayusivialugnertuat angiinnayuittugut qilalukkiuaangapta Akot pagaka umiakilani. Alia siluit tugo tayo mga anin. Alia na ikiblunga ami sa waktimay. Uwang ako nukat piralo.
Ajwanilutang mi Pauline Cove. Daimani ang iniksawyok ini tarium sinani kangma munariyawliktuak Kittigaryuit. Richard Gordon Inuvialuit munaksigi. Kaganganin Inuvialuit inuniak pagtuadin migo adaksutik. Ula peko sa ito sumiglaka.
To have a boat of
Umiakon
newcomers coming to
alat
the area
kaigamik
and start telling
tajibago inusik pudalangok
your way
niya
of
to.
life and whatever is going to change because this is the way we foresee it in the future. How do you
Tayo maluyuk sa kami sibunik kanurin niyak pa. Asuna inusik pud tammakublugo. Nuligak 14 ko kiunig kami umeani sawang niluklone pitik simig niya wipaluk kami inmigun ang unia paluk talaktuak ilisaklone lutanik pit kusinik.
Takiumi kilaluwa kaluid akot kahit ka. Ataw sa man niya kwak lugo dokot kahit ka. Kilaluwa kami yuami da iba 44 mik Kittigaryuit Inuvik. Inuit nireong minakdod. Uwang ali kuyat sabayalok nami ay. Aya. Kilaluwa kayo. Ako yung tayo. Pameong negay, ya.
Neriyutit inuvialuit Inuvialuit. Tusang nakpagtok na jiwa nungok ternay tok ang uniluktun eh. Nikik sangnik kisyanik. Neriyutit nungok pada naut kilaitut. Sunalikano nami ito ang muna kinavialuktok. Sukak kailing nakimadaning nun tayo mani akit tuvialuktok. Niakwa akvium $10,000. Inuklivialuktok dasin. Akviksyo daiktot nung umakir mata tayo mani.
They're over hunting at a very ferocious pace. Their appetites were voracious. They quickly stripped an area of easily harvested animals very, very fast.
They were exterminating the whales. They'd already killed the western population off North Alaska, and now they're moving east into the last refuge of the bowhead.
Ako vekta iba tokon madjung niya kwa makayatlugo tima kibit pagat. Ako vek pilak tulay kat pitakita wakamit jung tajiwa kung isiyagun pilak kamit jung taiman nakilamik umiakpaid usiyak sanik bagtuat.
The best catch ever was 67, the baleen of 67 whales, which would be worth at least $500,000.
Inuvialuit ako mayutan gitpit kusindik, kanukalangok tilangit. Inuvialuit ako beret imait niya ako ilat puktayut sumilikhatariumi, ako nakibaktuat. Kusak nakbaktuat ay iba sibunip tingin. Tako magaloak sugo, ilisi magaloak sugo, ikkay mayuat, kanok vidgad. Inuvialuit ilit chiriyuat ay iba akveredi sumalong nakiyuat. Nunakput niriyutawak kaloakami, suikapsaktuak, nutanik pitik sinikkamik, kutivingnik. Nukat pekat nuligaktun anguneao tigibagay tangit ikayoksuit nunak tiksugin rekslugo Inuvialuit iyang ngaksimakirtua taimangani.
The whaling ships hired large numbers. Most of the crews were native. If not working as crews on the ships, they were professional meat hunters. They'd go shoot caribou, because that's what the whalers liked to eat, was caribou, and bring them to the whaling ships and sell them. And there were, tens of thousands of caribou killed to feed the whalers.
Kang matuktut, kikekta yung puktuat, naluktutik, nunavingmin. Kaaknitkut ernerotait, tikin mata, Richard Gordon, Tuktuuyaqtuuq, kaunaksito arumik. Makuad nutakkat, isumalong nakayuat inuvingmi, sigaaksluktigun.
So go to that mound over here, I think.
Go underneath here, and then we'll have a look again from there. They might move this way,
They're going down in that little valley thing.
If they go to that gully, we'll work out, stay out of sight from them. Okay? Big bulls. Big bulls, yeah.
Tuktut nusuklunga malaksorit ka. Nakhelrom iluagun. Kayo may kalwaktut kanok tayo manguyat ka. Ano kitong lonin ma, kayo may malonin.
Come on up, join the crowd.
Yeah, come and join the crowd, that one.
Oh, someone just sniped it there.
Yeah, shot through, eh?
Niksaktunita iwa, kubianakman, kuyasugitsi ilipsigun.
We just harvested here, so just bow your head and just say, thank you, by yourself, which way you want.
Nunami ituni malerun naktokluta, nautio naktoklo, sunalika.
I had one comment at one time.
Ilisauti yaksabut,
You can
nutakabut.
catch one youth.
Atau seraluari ilisauti guptiguta jibakpak.
And this is when he was older.
Angutit, anguni aksimatilugit, winim pannak, Rosalilo, Jane lo, tikin miyok, kunyakpaktut, agliw janik, pictanik.
Dad and mom.
Winim ilak takok simayat, kikektaayong mi, inugamik taimani, nuligaktun pilguyok.
Look at me. Stop looking.
You're a tomboy too, I guess.
Yeah.
Wini nut kangasuito, amamani lisaw diyamok paoyonermek tangit makperanganin, anguniarnik kun ilittuaqaapangminin, inmigun qimmining migami naneritsikibang miyuaq arnataimani miqoruyut annoraaliorlutik tuktunik natsiilu amrinik annoraaliuqqaarani inuunainmiuq.
Wool and leather just can't keep you warm. You need caribou skin clothing, and only native women could produce caribou skin clothing. So they would hire native seamstresses who would come right onto the ships and sew and keep people properly clothed. And this would often lead to other kinds of relationships too, of course, but seamstresses would be often how they would appear in the books. Some of them were pretty rough guys, poorly educated, pretty hard cases, I think would be the term.
You put them in a place where there is really no law, there are no social restraints or police to keep them in check.
The idea of sexual jealousy was never an important part of Inuvialuit culture. And sometimes husbands went along with this because they got bought off.
Nuliatikilane ilan naming nun, taning nun, kahit pagay, umiamutigay ni nuliatik tangamik manibagay.
Certainly it had terrible destabilizing effects. Marriages would be broken up, they might get back together again when the white guy goes away.
There were whalers who came up who treated native women with respect, and they fit into the Inuit sort of way of life. You have other situations where women were, for all intents and purposes, kidnapped onto whaling boats.
There was one captain, Nuth, I think was his name, Captain Nuth, who was called the kindergarten captain because he was extremely interested in prepubescent girls whose parents he would bribe and so on and so forth. Pretty unseemly stuff.
Inuvialuit Tuktuuyaqtuuq nakuvallangittut inuusaqput tutqiingasiblugu taamna tajava
really didn't explore because it just makes me
ilisaqpallaangita quvianainman uvamni
of the way they treated the Inuit people.
Inuvialungnun Tuktuuyaqtuuq
Yamita Yuvane Siku Wallaxone Arvekilloangit Dot Ungalam Yakaluk Umeakpait Utektuk Saudit Aulakigaloak Dot Akasmi Siku Wallam Tikatayum Haningani Utek Dot Sikum Aulagik Sugit
Ilangit, pingasunik, ukiunik, ukiwaktuat. Ukiuyuni, maani alianaanitualuk. Sumiktu saarna illam. Tangit nutauyot, sapivialukkaat. Ilangit khimaawaktuat aununga daasan tungaanun. Umialingoruklutik. Apkhun aglaanalublugu ulam naublutik tikitsuitut. Naluvialuktudami. Tusar na kayokta jiwa gold pakita tabani ungasik tukalungmi dasan sedimi. Arverseok titan ngidi sumayak sudik kimayuat atan rita malek sukpagait. Inukitut irritigun tawanga tikitat. Audlakong ngilugit tangarnik kagayi yuat. Kittigaryuit naredjiyuatun iliblugit kanutun aglaan imer nakeblune Inuvialungnut ayuatangak ulapekosaublune suuyaqliyuatangit anmun inuusek pitqusek aullakeblune. Kangiksimangitkaat ikajortiksaittut. Inerneret qulaarasuyuitkaat taamna taangaq nangititsivallaaqpangmaninungnun. Nalunaiqlunila Inuvialuit inuusiat ulapittuaq.
Immarlukpaktuat ubloktamaan. Sumikliqa imiqpaktuat. Atausiaqluni piuya paluqsimaqluta Inuvialuk atausiq iminngaqpallaarneqluni. Pingasulinuit tigugamidjung aqlunaamik qiliqsornigaat. Sayugiyaqlugu itiqtaqibluguaasiin pitsiriyautiplugu. Tangit aimmatatamna inuk takumayaqa aniyuariglumen. Aqlunaaqaluaq sapinginiga amigoorta yuwa angat kokpaugami.
Tajutamna atinga kublualuk angat kokpak sulungoqlunigoq kijgabium suluanik uyoquvikkun aniyuaq tangit sapirait Inuvialuit angat kungit. Alraqsuiyat isumagamik tajiba tupilangmun angajusugiwagait Inuvialuit annautisukluget Inuvialuit isumayulubba.
Stringer was the first. Stringer came in the early 90s. He didn't make a single conversion in the first, say, 6 years that he was there. And in his diary, there's, despair comes through the pages, beseeching God and how have I failed these people.
When the missionaries first arrived, they described this as Sodom and Gomorrah. They described Herschel Island as being the most debauched place in Western North America.
The missionaries were consciously motivated by the highest ideals here, but in their own way, they're as destructive of native culture as the whalers ever were. They were up there to change people. They were up there to destroy the whole intellectual basis of Inuvialuit culture, the whole way it operated, all of the religious beliefs, the spiritual beliefs, which animated everything they did.
Isaac Stringham qarritiyaaqikirtariungmun Charles Whittaker taavyumagorta yuwa isummit Inuvialuit Stringham sapiqtait aglaan akilik.
Whittaker is the one who baptized the Inuvialuit. Basically en masse beginning in 1907 for the next 5 or 6 years, the whole community. Converted, however, nominally. It's a little bit like splashing everyone with holy water, whether they know it or not.
Tajiba alraqsuye Mr. Whittaker tekinnami imarmik kuvvekibagait Inuviaktut ilangit kangeqsimangitut Inuvialuk piya tajiba atereniakkan Hayden kiuya siin Inuvialum khali ateksuinnaungayak taimaatsimikaterwaungitungovanga inusivullupit qusivullu ulapitaarsiyavut taniktun kisianik inuuniakkiutiyuanni inuusiqput sutqublugu
Nuligak tajibali atsigaat Robert Cognimik noat qatigit tajibani Inuvialuit Inuvialuk piisamikatilik nuliaminik suuyaqliyuaq taningnik siniqatiruarnangman paniaraalunilu anauliqlugu tuqunmigamiu umialikpait tangit Mr. Whittaker takuyaqtugaat taimani malirutaksanik naluyut palisingaittut qanoq anusinngorsak pakpagit taimaliuqaangata inuusipsingni qilerlugugooq qiyungmun napayumun mattaqtillugu nuqqartarlugu aasiin inugiaktunik taimaliuquptaluunni tajuwa Inuvialuit ilinniartut.
What the community remembers now is that the person who organized the flogging and who laid in the first lashes was the missionary Whitaker. And this apparently made a bad impression on the community, who had been listening to this guy talk about, the gospel of love and so on, and saw it as a serious contradiction that he should be so bent on revenge.
Anga juwid Inuvialuit. Inuvialuit isumalaqtudik tajiba God o kavilutawin nanaktoq.
Putugo kaiman ukiok nutaktikillutigulugo 1915 mi tusap kagainita jiwa tangit go Tuktuuyaqtuuq Germany mi atuak sapting nikta jiwa Inuvialuit isumal libealong naktuak tamna inula rogibluta tanik
Anguyak palung madaday mani ako vekseong narisuk kaktua kikik tayong mi. Ako veket takunayaqtutik umiakpait anguyak tuat ikayureak magit utit kingit tuat takunat kingit tuat inuneak nakpak nulik kamilisimaya nungubluni tangit outlamata nulik kam sugiwalangin tait. Tajiwane Inuvialuit inmingnik Inuvialuit Anguneaqtutik naneradjekeblutik ilisimayan ilitajiwa ikayutawialumniaqtuq inmigun iuvaajit qaimmatamanга inuusireneeraalitajiwa iliappaugaluaqluni nutaraugami
niqsarpaktuamikisima ilaani pitiksiga ilit pailugo kallaisisuittunga taimane qimminik nanoqsiuaangapta ikayutauvialupaktuat qimmit nannumtumait nalautkaini qimmit anuyaqlugit nanoqilamik nutqaqtit pagaat
Sikuliaq uloreanaqnitualuk ikaarneaqainni pisukluni
like a polar bear
munarinavialuktoq
half an inch they could walk across
nanoqaglaanu qumait kaluaqtoq sikuliaq saat kaluaqtilugu ikaalagaa sila nautsioqnarmiuqaulayuni Pektomi ulam nauguvit aniuvait qaunaginaqtut ublureallu ilitkaini ikayutauvialummiut nayoqtanitajiva nutaanngortutun iliyuaq tangit avillugit nuulluni inmigualeqtuaq tuvaaqatik saminiglu paqilluni
October 1921 tuwaqatiniktomi atinga Margaret taningmik apalik wilgarneq sitamani nutaqalik tayuangaanin nutqayuittunga nutaqqatmunariblugit
sitamanik nutaqaniktuaq Margaret lu nunami inuuniaqlutik Inuvialuit pitqusiinnikilisaudiblugit
November 28 1923 Margaret Irniyuaq angunmik atinga Walter James qawianangayak irninikkama
aqaviqsiuqtit tangit Mackenzie ikpingaktuq suli arnanuningattavik Margaret nangititauaktuaq taimani taningnin suuyarliuannun nutaqqanikkami kinuusirnakuruallaktuaq
Angayuksera Walter nutaraugami mikigaluaqluni mallausuuyuq sumullika naksaqpagaqa autlaqaangama Margaret ilisautivag miya suniglika namullika sanguvaktuangni nunami anguniluklunuk tingmiluit ikinniaqutaagun upinraksami
Cognit anguniaruiramik utiqtuat ilutangmun Pauline Cove ingilraatun
Put it on the wall.
Thanks a lot.
We accomplish our goal.
Thanks a lot.
taimangani Inuvialuit tuktut tikainnik sannayaivaktuat tukiumi niqiksamingnik qangmaasin ilisimayuat inukliuat pitqusiptigun taapsimnutarai taununga nuuttuat atausiqqisingorlugu
Inmigunli inuuseq malerusimagaat qangma uvaptun inriqtuat nunamugutsaaqlutik nalunaqtoq puiornaarnaqtoq qangma oqaqatigivakkatka Vancouver milo Ottawa minlo inmiguaqtut
When you put that down on the floor for mattress, and when you sleep on it, you never get cold from the ground. Yeah. This is better than the mattresses that they make nowadays.
When
Stuff
Papa
that they
used
have,
to
yeah.
travel, our dad used to travel. That's all he used to use for double it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Two caramels. One in the bottom, one on top.
Oh, okay.
You made it for him. Give him half. Wait. Oh, I got that.
taimani annuqaaqsanik qiililiqtuat tannit taunanimaani tusarnaqimayuat nuligaqta terigannianun naniritjiqiakkirtuaq $50 ami teriganniaq taimani atauseq
They could compete against whites on something closer to an equal footing. The Inuvialuit had learned a lot from the whalers, knew how to function as entrepreneurs. There were Inuvialuit who owned trading posts. There were Inuvialuit who owned big schooners.
Tajivaniauyami 1926 umiamik niuvektuami nutatcheq atia Bonnie Belle 40 feet Tuktuuyaqtuuq Ingniqutaittau 10 horsepower San Francisco nakoqunitualuit
umianikkami sumiliqa ukiivaktuarnuligaq nanariartorluni terigannianun upinraqsami sikuiraangan qikertaqayungupaktuaq umiaminik tunisiartorluni niuvaayartorlunilu
tapqamin inukaluit qikertaqayuk quyasuvialuktut tamangmik teriganniaq akittuvialukluq taimani ammit tunigaptigit niuvaalraaqluta Bonnie Belle usillerluaqqarput
nuligaqin inmiguarpaktuaq nunami inuuniataqluni Inuvik Inuviaktut najorungilugit allangorsimaakkirtorlayuga nunagaluaq Inuvialuit nunagaluangat nalunait kusertalak nunauyakun ataneqpait qaimmata aaduwamin uqaqatigisukklugit Inuvialuit nuligaqlayuga Inuvialuit uqaqtigiyaat
$5 mik qaitsisukkaluagait Inuvialuit. Sungivialuktoq taimanna Kittigaryuit. Tiriganniaq uva $30 iluangivialuktoq.
Tangum ataneqpaum apiriyaani uqaqsaruarmangama kiuyaqa malirulait kiptigin maneqpimaugaqung.
Inuvialuit ang ingituat malirutaksanik 60 ukiut tikin matakisianik.
Nunatasva ilisimalraarnagu neriutillu natniitilaangit aullaqnaqikpanlu sivunniuqaarani iluorinaittoq Inuvialuit nulikkatun taimanna ittut.
Tuktulu natsilu amiinnikannuqaaruaqqaarani tariumi pinaittoq. Margaret annuaaliorpagait nutaqqani ilisaudiblugit paniudini. Wini kingulliublugutajua ilisaudia miqornikun.
Tamainnik ilisaquvagaani sunaliqaa ilitaqa inuullaktillugu. Sumikliqaa sanavaktuami pualuillu atigillu sapernatqiyat. Kammiorpakkatka nutaqqat. Iqaqliorlungalu kammiorlungalu qaqsoqtanik.
Qikiqtaq qimangnaqimmau winikagnisannayaaqqiqtuaq ukiortamaada iwatam taimani nalunaqtuq utiqtilaaksani maunga uqsiqiyit umeaqpangat angiyoq kisaqsimayoq uvani ilutangmi Pauline Covemi ukiyuksaq ingilraatun taimani ingituq taima aquviqsiortit umeangitigun. Ilagi utimun aullaqiyuat anguyaqtuat taunani ungavani uqsorjuaq akittoqtivialugaat maanitariuq susaqpataima tuktut ivaviat Alaskami qikiqtarium qaningani ittoq atanrit Washingtonmi savagvigisukkaa taamna uqsorjuaq isumagiblugu Inuvialuit ayiva takumaniarat. Kiunginni winim takumaya nuna qanoqliqa atoqtau kirman ingilraani Inuvialuit taimunna isumanapinngitut aqiviqsiortit maqairmata tariuq salummaktutuniluaq uqsorjuamlu akittoqtuam anguyarnapittuallu Soviet-kut sumiliqaatayiva savaaqsamingnik qinaatlaktuat suyaallak giiqluta winim wiinga Walter nulikkamirninga anguniaqtinngorluni inuguktuaq savaaksat inugiaqsimata nunapting nun inuvingmun nuuttuaq.
Inuvingmun nuunnapta savaataqsinaqtoq anguniat jaaqluni naneriaqtut jaaqlunilu.
Nuligak lived through this profound transformation, where he was one of the last ones of his generation to have really spent a long time on the land. And now he's seeing the changes that are occurring, and they are profound indeed.
Inuving me ilisaaqqiqtuami igloqpait allangnangayait Tuktuuyaqtuuq qutsiktunik iglunik sivuani.
It was a big change.
Quviasuktualuami tasvungaqqaama nayuakkarapko qiayuami sivituyumik.
Nulikkam takumayait inurutaaluni tiguyaumata ilisarvingnun ilatik qimaklugit uqaqanaiqluni uqausiptingnik aqsaarlugit Inuvialuit pitqusiitigun.
The government was tying social benefits to attendance at residential school. If your kid didn't go to residential school, you didn't get family allowance, you didn't get government assistance if when you needed it. The whole purpose of residential school was to acculturate Native children across Canada, to take their Native culture away from them and turn them into little white people.
Nuligaklo Margaretlo nunamingnun utigaluaqtuak nutaraagamilisimayani angunearneq isukkarnaputalernertuaq pitqusivut inuuserput idjuserput puigortinagu quleartuaq makperaaq iniqqaksariyaa Maurice Metayer ikayuakkiganuligaq mumikterlugit taniktun annearuntayiva nunguvialugluni nungulaittoq annearutim tikinmatigut Inuit inuklimaakkigait tuberculosis inerneret inmiguartuat quviasuklutik suiqpaktuat annearutim taavjumatayiva puwagleqtitpagait Inuit Margaret annealermantayiva nuunnaqiyuaq Inuvingmun annearvilingmun.
Margaret nakuwallangittoq takuyaqtuqapku annearvingmiublaaq yaqaeqsipaluksimayoq apiriyaqa ilitaqimmangaanga angiqtuaq atia taigoqapku kiuwaktoq aglaan nangivialuktoq isumaaluktungatayuva quyasuktunga aglaan takupalukkapku. Certunga angayuqaaqsunga nutkayuit kaluaqamatayiva iluamiutaleqtuami nukatpiugamataimani qiqisiasuittunga qangmaasiin qiqait kaluaqtiluni qaayulilangasiblunga Ublaq sila nubuyauyok, nuna apiyok. Ublaq siksmuklunilo, munaqsimayani. Margaret suektok. Koya nangaya dinuitakuyaqtuuyuat. Matiga nangittok haliwa.
Itqagiwaga tuwaqatine. Suektuaq peqpakkutivialuktuk avilaittuk sivituyumik Inuvialuit pangnaqtuat aipaaqangamik.
Husband or wife.
Qilamikaasiitayiva nuligaq annealeqtuaq tiibimik annearvingmuutiyaat taununga.
Ubluktayiva tingmiyualok tikittuksaq Inuvingmun munaqsit anniarvingmuquya qublunga Edmontonmun audlaqtuani unnuklunilo.
Taimani nalunaittoq tingmiyualuk tikittaqaanga aulautiplusi aasiin munaqiyausuittut ilooqalutik. Namuktilaaqsangit tusarnatqiyuittut Campsall Hospital tuksautit ilaani allamuutivlugit ulapillugit aasiin inuiaktut suli paqitsuit kivut.
Aulajugut tajiwa inuutsimun kayumiktumun pitaksisuktuat sunigleqa nunaptingni inuusirmaani adlanguqtuaq. Inimingnin ungasiksiblutik Inuit nakinleqa Canadami nuatait Campsallmun annervingmun tutqiksiniaqlugit TB-ligit Nuligak Robert Cockney nalunait kuta 48367605.
Ublok sana Sweden aputait tuksuli 14 blumi taaktilumunaksilo nautsiqaluagaani sumik quliuti suitkaanga taimannait pangnaqtuat maani nunami inuitangit qaunaqsingittut aksalikkat nutqayuittut aputait tuksuli
aliasivialugung naqtuaq anniarvingmi innami avayaitsuitugut ilavut nayoruugivut.
Timigalo ummatigalo suiqpangnik timiga nunamuutisaqtuq
Nuligak Tuktuuyaqtuuq May 4, 1966. Tima Tuktuuyaqtuuq muutiyat. Qangmatapsikaagne nulikkamin rutalua aulablunisikkun iluviatakuyortuqpagaa Tuktuuyaqtuumi. Kuuk paumsikua umiaqpaitingilraan aulareertitpagait. Inuvialuit.
Sukuitkiga tasva ataataga atautsimi sivituyumik ilaitpangnaqtuami nutqayuittunga sumulliqaa aulavaktunga atautsimi ilaittunga ataataga ilisamagapko tasva itjusia maani ittuksami qangma amaamaga maani itillugu aulaqatigiyuni alianaittoq nayuatarniarikkaluunniin ingilraatun inuuseq atutsaikaqput taimanna inuutiaqtuanni ilisimatqugaluarait inuit ingilraantun pitqusiptingnik.
Nuligarlumargridlu iluveqsimayuk Tuktuuyaqtuumi tariumsinaani sivulliit taavanga sikukkun qaimayut ingilraakaluk.
Aya qilaluaqariuaq aya akudjungtariuq papiornega iya